So right now, we've created this bizarre society that's unprecedented where if any two people wish to communicate over the internet, the only way that can happen, the only way it's financed is through a third party who believes that those two can be manipulated in a sneaky way. It's an insane way to structure civilization. So we can keep all the good stuff, and there is good stuff on social media, of course. We can keep all that and just throw away the manipulation business model and substitute in a different business model. And there are many alternatives that would be better. They just have to be honest. The founders of the great Silicon Valley spying empires like Facebook have publicly declared that they intentionally included addictive schemes in their designs. Now, we have to say, this is what I would call almost a stealthy addiction. It's a statistical addiction. What it says is, we will get the broad population to use the services a lot. We'll get them hooked through a scheme of rewards and punishment. And the rewards are when you're retweeted. The punishment is when you're treated badly by others online. And then within that, we'll very gradually start to leverage that to change them. So it's this very kind of stealthy manipulation of the population. So it's not as dramatic as a heroin addict or a gambling addict, but it is the same principle. The difference is the constant feedback loop. So when you watch the television isn't watching you. When you see the billboard isn't seeing you. And vast numbers of people see the same thing on television and see the same billboard. When you use these new designs, social media, search, YouTube, when you see these things, you're being observed constantly, and algorithms are taking that information and changing what you see next. And they're searching and searching and searching, and they're just blind robots. There's no evil genius here until they find those patterns, those little tricks that get you and make you change your behavior. In fact, the whole point is that it's sneaky. It's a mechanical approach to manipulating people, and because it's so algorithmic, it doesn't involve direct communication, and people don't get the cues to understand what's happening with them. When the company's own scientists are publishing on this topic and come to the same agreement, I think it's time to say this is real. Remember, this is a statistical distribution, so for some percentage of people, it'll have an effect of making them crankier around election time and feeling needier around the time they might be making a purchase and so forth. And the way it works is that all the data Google can get on you, much of which comes from just your email or whatever else it might be, is fed into an engine that compares you with other people who share some similar traits. And YouTube's ordering of videos that are presented to you is designed to, on the one hand, maximize your engagement so you won't stop watching, but that's achieved not just by observing you, but by a multitude of people who are similar to you. And then when you do get an ad, it's contextualized in a way that has been shown to be effective, not only for you, but for this whole population. So it's this giant statistical thing, and it's bad for you because it leeches your free will, it makes you cranky, it makes the world a little darker because you're not perceiving reality clearly anymore. It's being manipulated, it's being tricked in a way. The people who are paying, or maybe not paying, just using the system to, in a clever way to get at you, are not necessarily pleasant people. They're sort of the worst actors in some cases. Bad actors are able to use Facebook in ways that Facebook can't understand because the way the service is designed is fundamentally to be manipulative. So I think the data protection idea is a sincere and good idea, but it's certainly not adequate. It doesn't address the core problem, which is the manipulation engine. And as long as that is there, a bad actor can find a way to utilize it. The algorithms that are following you respond very quickly. They're looking for the quick responses. And the negative responses, like getting startled or scared or irritated or angry, tend to rise faster than the positive responses, like building trust or feeling good. Those things rise more slowly. So the algorithms naturally catch the negativity and amplify it and introduce negative people to each other and all of this. And in the big picture, it's not true that negativity is more powerful. But if you're doing this very rapid measurement of human impulses instead of accumulated human behavior, then it's the negativity that gets amplified. So you tend to have elections that are more driven by rancor and abuse, and you tend to have outcomes that are kind of crazy. The social media addict becomes addicted to this engagement, which is often unpleasant, where they're engaged in these, really abusive exchanges with other human beings. We call it in the trade the dopamine hit. I would like to make two very quick pitches on that account. One, if you're a young person and you've only lived with social media, your first duty is to yourself. You have to know yourself. You should experience travel. You should experience challenge to yourself. You need to know yourself, and you can't know yourself without perspective. So at least give it 6 months without social media and really quit them. Don't quit Facebook to keep another Facebook thing like WhatsApp, because then it'll still be spying and manipulating. Get rid of the whole thing for 6 months and know yourself, and then you can decide. I can't tell you what's right. You have to decide, but you can't until you know yourself. And then for the rest of society, I'd say, as long as we can have some small percentage of people who are off it, then the society can have voices to give perspective. If everybody's universally part of this thing, we cannot have perspective. We cannot have a real conversation. And it's too lonely strongly right now, we need more people who are just outside of that loop, who are thinking without the manipulation, and I think we'll find it extraordinarily valuable to have them. It's because you're being subtly manipulated by algorithms that are watching everything you do constantly, and then sending you changes in your media feed, in your diet, that are calculated to adjust you slightly to the liking of some unseen advertiser. And so if you get off that, you can have a chance to experience a clearer view of yourself and your life. But then the reason for society might be even more important. Society has been gradually darkened by this scheme in which everyone is under surveillance all the time, and everyone is under this mild version of behavior modification all the time. It's made people jittery and cranky. It's made teens especially depressed, which can be quite severe. But it's made our politics kind of unreal and strange, where we're not sure if elections are real anymore. I'd be happy to trash the New Age and demonstrate that I'm not part of that manner of thinking. I'm certainly not. I hope I've come across as a non-utopian. But the problem is many of my friends in California are quite New Age, so I want to be kind to them. I believe that what we're doing is not in our own self-interest. Business interests are a part of society. If they destroy society, they destroy themselves. I believe it's very clear that we could offer all of the good things, and there are many, many good things in these services, and social media in particular. I'm convinced we can offer them without this manipulation engine in the background. There's a world of other business plans, and I think they'd be better for us. So I don't think we're being evil so much as we're being stupid.